Super Smash Brothers!
Super Smash Brothers, a game that doesn't really need much introduction. It's a game so massive that its most recent entry, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, is the most sold fighting game of all time, and for a good reason. It's such an iconic game with iconic video game characters that provides something for all players of any and all demographics. Are you a casual player? Grab some friends and run some free-for-all matches with items on. Got a hunger for competition? Head online and grind GSP, or practice to participate in Smash's massive competitive scene. Want to play alone? Arcade mode and adventure mode are awaiting you. Want to play with friends? 8-player Clown Fiesta. Hell, there's even combo contests if you're interested in doing that. It's a fantastic game that's been around for over 2 decades since its original release, with people still playing each individual release to this day. Many even herald Smash Bros. 64 as the founder of the platform fighting game subgenre, but that title technically goes to a game called The Outfoxies, which came out 5 years before Smash Bros. 64, but we'll look past that for now. We'll say that Smash was the game that refined and polished it, and since Smash Bros. Is so iconic, so massive, so critically acclaimed to the point of being considered the defining game of a subgenre, certain terms have been coined to describe other games in the same group, those being Smash Clone and Smash Killer. And they've been used to describe pretty much every other game of the subgenre, and personally, I hate it. But before we start breaking down why I don't like these terms, let's of course start with a bit of housekeeping. But before we even get started with that, did you know that about 90% of viewers aren't subscribed? So if you enjoy the content, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and join the community. If you subscribe today, you'll not only be supporting me and the channel, not only would you get notified of new videos when they're hot out of the oven, but you'd also get a cookie. I've been working really hard to get banger after banger out to you all, and I can't thank you all my subscribers enough for supporting me thus far, as well as all those who watch my content but aren't subscribed. I love all of you guys, so let's get back into it. I know this topic has been talked about before by others, but it's something that's bothered me for years, and this video idea was even brought up when I saw a recent article talking about Multiversus, referring to it as a Smash clone. Unfortunately, I can no longer find this specific article, but I do remember it was written on Kotaku. I suspect that the title of this article here was changed after it got the traffic that it needed, which is actually something I'll talk about a little bit later. First off, I've been around the block when it comes to fighting games, and in this case, we'll hone in on a specific subgenre of fighting games, the platform fighter. I've played hundreds of hours of Smash, Rivals of Aether, Brawlhalla, Slap City, and as of recent, Multiversus. Each one of these games are completely unique in how they play, look, and feel, as each one provides an almost entirely different experience for players. But on the surface to some, it just looks like Smash Brothers, and this is because of a couple reasons. First, the platform fighter subgenre follows a very specific formula, and that formula for a traditional platform fighter is simply this. The player faces off against another player or CPU, and they must knock their opponent off the stage to achieve victory. This is almost consistent across the entire subgenre, with a few exceptions that have alternate ways of defeating your opponents or a completely different objective, such as PlayStation All-Stars, where you execute opponents after charging up your super move instead of knocking them off the map. Since pretty much every platform fighter follows this exact same formula, from the spectator's end, this makes sense for people to see each one of these games as being clones of one another. But that formula is typically where the similarities tend to end when it comes to comparing platform fighters to one another, especially when looking deeper into how the game actually functions. For example, Brawlhalla has a large catalog of characters to choose from, each with their own unique stats, signature attacks, and weapon combinations, and through the match you pick up and use said weapons to defeat your opponent, rather than relying on an inherent set of moves unique to each character. Rivals of Aether, one of the closer platform fighters to Smash, has a heavy emphasis on offense and fast-paced movement, having the player mastering comboing and said movement options. It even removes the classic shield seen across most platform fighters, minus Brawlhalla, and adds a universal parry mechanic that requires its own mastery for timing. Multiversus, the newest platform fighter on the block, is built from the ground up for playing 2v2s. Characters have moves that interact with their teammates, such as being able to give them shields, pulling them from danger, or buffing their stats. Rabbit holes? I can keep going, but I hope you see what I'm getting at here. chalking these games up to be a Smash clone is disrespectful and devalues the overall game, the work the developers have put in to create their own unique take on the genre, and keeps their game attached to Smash no matter how hard they may try to pull away. There's also an argument to be had here, and one that I've seen brought up online a couple times about this just all being fine, since subgenres have been titled after games that have created them or defined them. Metroidvania, roguelike, and Souls-like being a few that immediately may come to mind. But this argument doesn't seem fair though, as these types of games were given a name to create a subgenre to help categorize said games further, while giving praise to the games that founded said subgenre. Some may even argue that having these subgenres be titled like this shouldn't be a thing either, but I digress. Smash Clone, on the other hand, isn't comparative to these. With Smash Bros being deemed a platform fighter very early on, it only served as a derogatory term to describe other games in the genre. This is somewhat similar to the case of the term Doom Clone, where subsequent FPS games that have been released after the huge boom of Doom years back were described as such. Of course, since then, this term has fallen out of favor for other terms, such as FPS and movement shooter, which are both subgenres of the shooter genre. Going back to the term Smash Clone, many people have and still use this term today, despite it being such a horrible way to describe other games that truly deliver a different experience than Smash Bros. Despite having more suitable terms. But why is that? Personally, I feel it's commonly not used out of a place of disrespect, but rather out of ignorance. Millions of people have played Smash Bros., especially since it has been at the top of the market for platform fighters for so long. It wasn't until 2014 that another mainstream platform fighter hit the scene with Brawlhalla, and subsequently Rivals of Aether a year later. And both of these games took a while to even convince and bring in an audience of their own to varying degrees. In my opinion, these three games stand as the top 3 of the genre, with Multiversus swiftly coming up there with its public beta release. Other platform fighters continue to be released and gather up a decent player base, but have not been able to garner as much success as these other games. But despite having an ever-growing catalog of games, especially in recent years, so many people have just not heard of or have played these other platform fighters. I remember when I would play Brawlhalla at lunch in high school, so many people would not know what I was playing, saying it was basically Smash when I explained it to them, or asking if I was playing Smash in the first place. The same thing happened when I started playing Rivals of Aether with friends after school, and even when I started trying to get a friend into Multiversus with me recently. It just hasn't felt like other platform fighters have exploded into the eyes of the mainstream until recently, with Brawlhalla getting huge crossovers, and Multiversus getting announced and releasing into open beta. And since Smash Bros. Has such a hold of the mainstream, people draw a comparison to what they already know. And of course, I can't fault people for that. But what upsets me the most are the people that should know better. So, now I'm going to hand it over to a friend of mine who shares a similar sentiment to this whole situation as me. Dove, take it away.
Greetings, mortals. I'm Mistress Dove. Now, the thing about the term Smash Clone is that I find it's a fairly reductive way to refer to platform fighters, and it doesn't allow for this subgenre of game to particularly grow if it can't even escape the constant claim that all games within the subgenre are just copying Smash. Now, this isn't the only time a popular term to refer to a genre or subgenre of game has bothered me. I still do not like when people call character action games hack and slash games because, to me, it makes the genre sound mindless. Meanwhile, the term character action, what I consider the proper name for the subgenre, makes games like this sound more thoughtful and mechanically rich, like what the games actually are. Smash Clone isn't like that. It's more like how people back in the old days would call FPS games Doom clones before we eventually found a proper genre name for those types of games. And nowadays we even have names for subgenres of FPS games such as movement shooters, which represent a specific type of FPS. Soulsborne and Metroidvania are two other examples of fairly derivative genre names that I do not like. In both of those cases, the genre's name isn't exceptionally telling of what the game is actually like, and it more so just assumes that you know what it's going to be like because you are familiar with the games within the genre's name, which only works until you run into someone who has no frame of reference for what something like Soulsborne or Metroidvania would actually entail, which goes back to the initial point and why I'm here in the first place. Honestly, I wish we could find a different name for Metroidvania and Soulsborne, but unfortunately no one's come up with a good name for Metroidvania, and the only name I could come up for Soulsborne is Stamina Action Game, which is not my idea. I stole that from a YouTuber named Shamey. But back on topic, the term Smash clone doesn't say much to a general audience member outside of it being like Smash, which works on the assumption that the person you're talking to is familiar with the general concept of Smash. And to play devil's advocate, I'm pretty sure everyone is familiar with Smash at this point, at least to some degree. But it does mean that games in the platform fighter genre that get called Smash clones are then given certain expectations that they can't exactly meet. Let's take PlayStation All-Stars for example. It was a platform fighter that upon announcement all the way until its release just could not shake the name Smash clone, which was only made more unflattering by the fact that the game was essentially Sony's own Smash Bros. In the fact that it was essentially a crossover of several iconic characters and IPs attached to the PlayStation brand, a la how Smash was, at least at the start, a crossover of iconic Nintendo IPs and characters. But the reason I bring this up is because, mechanically, PlayStation All-Stars isn't anything like Smash Bros. Smash Bros.'s percentage system and need to launch opponents off the stage to score has now been swapped out with a system focused around supers and building up the super meter so you can defeat enemies and score. Knocking opponents off the stage won't actually lose them a stock, which is basically the complete opposite of what Smash does. Along with that, All-Stars utilized a fairly in-depth combo system for a game of this nature, whereas one of Smash's well-known qualities is that its combos are easy to learn and fairly simple to perform, which makes it more approachable for the average person when compared to a typical fighter. There are exceptions within Smash, such as Terry and Kazuya, but that more has to do with the fact that the games they come from are more mechanically deep fighters, and Smash wanted to translate them to their own game as faithfully as possible. But my point is, you cannot play PlayStation All-Stars like Smash Bros. But if you tell someone Battle Royale is a Smash clone and they haven't played the game, they'd probably go in expecting it to play just like Smash Bros. This is why I believe the term platform fighter is just better to use all around, as it doesn't tell someone outright this is like Smash Bros, but instead makes them aware it's in the same genre, similar to how calling Halo an FPS doesn't automatically make people think that it's going to play like Doom, or if I told someone Infamous was a sandbox game, they wouldn't automatically assume it's like GTA. To call a game a Smash clone, to me, gives off this idea that it's a game copying Smash, and that when you go into it, you shouldn't expect it to deviate too much, if at all, from the game that you're comparing it to. While calling the game a platform fighter would give one the idea that it's in the same subgenre of fighter as Smash, in the same way that me calling Mortal Kombat Armageddon a 3D fighter makes people aware that it's in that same subgenre, without people immediately assuming that it plays like Tekken. Thus, I believe platform fighter is not only a more apt phrase, but it's more helpful in the long run. And if we really want to see the platform fighter genre evolve and grow, I think we need to throw away the concept of a Smash clone. I mean, that's just my thoughts. I'm not making the rules here, just wanted to throw my 2 cents in there, and Z gave me the platform in which to do that, and I'm grateful for that.
Going back to what I said before about the Kotaku article that I saw, I stated that it probably had its title changed after steady traffic had been coming in. Having your title include the word Smash or Smash Brothers is huge when it comes to search engines, as it not only brings traffic to the content that you're actually making, but will pull in traffic from those looking for things about Smash Brothers. There are tons of examples of this that I found when looking through YouTube. Some videos felt more egregious than others, while others just felt really tone deaf. I won't be going into specifics about this, but it's just so upsetting to see media outlets, influencers, and content creators just disrespect game after game when it comes to platform fighters. There is one video I found by Catching Z's that actually talks about this all very well, and I actually recommend checking it out when we finish up here. Its link is in the description. Moving along, there are very few games that I've played in the platform fighter subgenre that I felt could be considered a Smash clone. And one particular game of note is Icon's Combat Arena. This game was a free-to-play platform fighter that released on Steam in 2018, and it was rough, to say the least. It had some good ideas of its own, but it was very obvious that this game had taken too much inspiration from Smash, rather than trying to craft something new. A lot of the base roster felt almost one-to-one to characters from Smash Bros., with only a few standouts truly feeling unique. Since the game's original shutdown though, the game has since re-released as Rushdown Revolt and is making attempts to craft something truly unique. And honestly, this looks hype as fuck. Now, when it comes to Smash Clone, one may already see why this title can be seen as derogatory. But when it comes to Smash Killer, things may begin to become a bit more confusing. The title of Smash Killer has typically been associated with any platform fighter that gains any sort of hype or traction, where this title insinuates that this is the game that will become better than Smash and effectively kill the game in its popularity. This can honestly be more harmful for games than calling them Smash clones, as calling a game this creates unreasonable expectations for it, to the point of leading it to becoming a ticking time bomb for player disappointment. I can understand people having hype for certain games, especially before they're even out and the fans are being drip-fed information, but immediately jumping to this seems unreasonable. And before you tell me, oh, it's just a joke, I get that. And there are those that treat it as a joke, and say it just as another funny haha. But when said enough, it can quickly get out of hand. We've seen it happen. One of the most recent instances of this occurring would be Nick All-Star Brawl, a game that unfortunately was dealt the worst of this Smash clone and Smash killer trick stab that many quickly shoved down its back. Again, I'm not going to point out specific instances of this being done, nor will I attribute this to the overall fall of the game's popularity, but I will point out the tweet that one of the developers of Nick All-Star Brawl had made in regard to this happening. The tweet reads, "Some videos, comments, etc. are doing the Smash killer shtick again. I'd really rather you not. I'd really prefer any other joke or punching bag or whatever that doesn't have the kind of proven track record of instigating conflict as a result of this branding. I can't stop anyone from making those jokes, and I'm not personally bothered by them. It's clearly all in good fun by the overwhelming majority of people, and it's clickbaity to an absurd degree. I get that. And in a vacuum, it's absolutely hilarious. But ramifications aren't in a vacuum. There's no real way to not come off as a buzzkill in addressing this. But the image this kind of message creates has been so thoroughly harmful to a degree that I can't just sit back and watch it happen again. I strongly encourage finding hyperbolic, absurdist statements elsewhere." This tweet highlights the fact that the developers are aware of the damage that these terms can cause, and in this case, to the point of even addressing it with the community as a whole. Some may perceive these titles as flattering, to be compared to the great Smash Brothers, when in reality, all this does is mislead, clickbait, and degrade. Short and sweet, I hate the uses of these terms, and I don't intend to change minds or whip up any controversy because of my opinion. This is just a topic I wanted to talk about for a long time now. But I do hope that I could at least help some people see the other side of the coin for this whole thing. In the comments below, I'd love to spark some conversation and hear your opinions about all of this. As usual, I'll be down there as well. Also want to give a huge thank you to my friend Mistress Dove for joining me in this video. She has a channel of her own where she also does fantastic detailed deep dives into video games and video game analysis, so go check out her channel. The link to her channel will be in the description and the outro. I'd also like to thank a good friend of mine for the general Smash Ultimate footage, and VG Bootcamp for the tournament footage, and game trailers for the trailer footage as well. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and ring the bell to help support the channel. And as usual, my name is CrossVee. I hope to see you all.
Hey.
Huh? What's up? Video's over.
Remember earlier when you brought up the thing about search terms and what have you? How people often use those to try to get clicks and views by using popular terms in their titles. Remember that?
Yeah. What about it?
Yeah, aren't you doing that right now? I mean, this video has both the term Smash Killer and Smash Clone in its title. So technically, you're doing the search term thing you brought up not even a moment ago.
Ah, shit.